We just finished number 2, Ajax. We're going to go to the third directory, Ajax3, and we're going to open up index.html. Okay, we just coded this example in the last lecture. You'll see I create the Ajax object. I set up what happens when I get the response. I had to encode the components and grab the values from the form. I had to set up my parameter string. I opened up the post request and I sent the parameter string in the HTTP response body. Now this is a lot of code. Let's see how we could use this using jQuery. So I'll comment this code out right before the close bracket on the function. And jQuery also has the post function. So we saw that it had the get function. I also can use the post function. So in the code, it's not much difference. I just call post. I also say where it's going to. Now, if I want to send data with post, it's also in the second parameter, okay, which is optional because sometimes I don't need to send data. And then I also have the function call, which is data, which is the response from the server. So this is what we saw in the last video. In the last code example, the only difference was I changed it from get to post. Now in the second parameter, I'm sending up 3 data points, name, hobby, and age. So I can do this here. Remember, it's a JSON object, so I'm going to put name as the key. Now the value, I'll actually grab the name ID using jQuery and then grab the value by using the value function. Now this is separated by a comma. I'll grab the hobby. Okay, I'll use jQuery to grab the hobby ID. And from the hobby ID, I'll grab the value from it. And then I will also grab the age. So age is the key. The value is going to go to the age ID and grab the value. Now remember, on a JavaScript object, the last one doesn't have a comma, but all the other ones are separated by a comma. In this case, I'm using post, and post will automatically encode the data for us. So I'm going to send this to process.php. I'm grabbing the values. I don't have to worry about encoding them. And this function will get called when the Ajax response comes back. So what do I want to happen? Well, just like we did before, I grab the form box and update it with the response text. So I can do that with jQuery. So if I want to grab the form box, I can use a CSS selector, form box, using the hashtag for the ID. I want to update the inner HTML, so I can use the HTML function. I'm going to update it with the data that's received from the server. Okay, I've already added the jQuery import, so this code should work. So you'll see this large amount of code now gets compressed into a nice jQuery function call. So remember, I have post. First parameter is where it's going to. I'm going to process.php. The next parameter is the data that I'm sending. I'm sending name, separated by a comma. Then I'm sending hobby, separated by a comma. Then I'm sending age. Age is the last key value pair, so I don't put a comma in that JSON, in that JavaScript object. Now the third parameter is the function that gets called when the response is returned. So I'm going to update the UI. I'm going to update the form box with the data that's received. Okay, so I'm only updating a portion of the page. So if I come back here, open up number 3, you'll see the page that we saw before in the previous lecture. I'll put my name, hobby, age, click on submit, and you'll see this portion of the page updates. So I was able to successfully send that data and grab the values. Okay, now what's an illegal character? So let's try it. So if I do Nick star, okay, drums, ampersand, these are all illegal characters, and age is star star. So I click on submit. Okay, what happened? Let's see, let's make sure my page is done. Let's get these hidden characters out. Let's still work. Let's say 99. Okay, so something's going on with the backend code. So let's see, I sent it to process.php. Let's open up process.php and make sure everything's happening correctly. So process.php is very specifically looking for name, hobby, and age. So I need to make sure those keys are the same. So if I come back to the code, I need to make sure name, hobby, and age are case sensitive the same. Now I forgot to say that in the last example. In the last example, we also sent a GET request, and we also sent the quote ID up. So info ID needs to be the exact same as what the server's looking for. Now on this one, the server's looking for name spelled like this, hobby spelled like this, age spelled like this. Okay, so I need to make sure that's the exact same. Let me come here. Sometimes the browser caches your page. So if I type in something, all the code looks good and you don't get anything back, it could be that the browser cached your page. So copy this, open it up in an incognito window, paste the link, and then run the code again. Now the incognito window will not cache your page. Okay, nothing's happening, so let's see, anything in the console. So no bugs in the console. Let's see, I'm doing a post request. It's going to process.php, and I'm going to update the form box. Now you'll look, when I'm trying to update the form box, I put a capital B. But in reality, the ID was all lowercase, so the IDs are case sensitive. So put a lowercase b there, update the code, refresh, okay, put your name, hobby, age, click submit. And then you'll see the page update. So sometimes FileZilla is a little bit slow. We'll give it a little bit of time. So now let's try these illegal characters. So it's working. The browser was caching my page, and I also forgot to put a lowercase b there to make sure the IDs matched. So let's go and do some hidden characters. So I do a refresh. Let's say I put Nick with a star, hobby, drums with an ampersand. These are legal characters, and age is star star. Click on submit. You'll see that it's still successfully printed out because the post function will automatically encode this data for us. We don't need to do encode URI component, which is nice about a jQuery. They take a lot of the code that is common, so creating the AJAX object, setting up the function when it returns, encoding. These are all common things to do, and they made a nice function that we can call. Now, the next coding example will really help you for the challenge. So I recommend to continue on to the next video so we can go over a code example that will help you for the challenge. We'll see you in the next video.